Dr. Fantastic is here today, and all he wants you to do is say, I'm fantastic, and that you will be. I'm fantastic, yeah, that's me.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Uplifting Interviews with Total Strangers. Ross, are we total strangers?
We are total strangers.
You sure now?
Total
You've
strangers.
never met me before.
Never met you before, just on a nice ride to the airport.
There you go. And we're going to be crawling, which is good because it's better sound for the listening audience.
Yeah.
Everybody, I got to first tell you a story that happened yesterday. I got called to do a interview or a audition for a cowboy. So, you know, you see this beard is kind of a bit cowboyish. So the first thing I do is I run to the local thrift store and I buy a cowboy hat. As you guys know, I wear many hats. You know, behind me is my captain hat when I captain yachts, and I wear many hats. So today I'm a cowboy. So then I buy this shirt. I went to another thrift store and I bought this cowboy-looking shirt, right? Got Levi's, and I said, okay, now I got a bitchin' pair of boots, like $600 alligator boots. And I went home and I put the outfit on for my wife, and she said, well, you have to have boots. I go, well, I'll just go put them on. She goes, they're not here. I go, what are you talking about? They're in the closet. So I suffer from CRS. You know what that is? Yep. Can't remember shit. So in my mind, I see the boots in the closet. So I said, no, they're in the closet. I remember seeing them there like last week. So I go in the closet, they're not there. My wife's never wrong about memory, right? So I'm looking at, and there's not in the closet. Looking at the other closet. She goes, they're not in the house. I go, well, where the hell can they be? She goes, well, there's been a claim check sitting there for a long time. I think you brought them to the shoe repair place. I go, I don't remember doing that. So I finally drove to the shoe repair place, and I give him the ticket. He looks at it and he goes, this is a really old ticket. And I go, well, how old is it? He goes, 2 years. I hadn't thought about my boots, and no wonder I couldn't remember when I put them in the shop. I wouldn't remember if I did it last week, but 2 years? And he said, where are he was looking all over for him, and so I noticed in the back, and you couldn't even recognize there was so much dust on them. 2 years. I thought anyway, I think that's pretty funny. I don't know if you guys think it's funny. But anyway, we're going to talk technology today. And robotics are taking over the auto industry anyway, right? I mean, they're amazing. Most autos are made by robots.
Made by robots, yeah.
Right, and you were saying in the early 1800s or 1900s about the agricultural industry? Say that again?
Yeah. We were discussing sort of the future of work, and one of the common points that comes up is the idea of replacement of people and losing jobs. And there's an example I love to give, and I got to be honest, like it's a bummer because John Oliver recently did this on his show, so I feel like I'm stealing from him. But really, I used to give this example all the time, which was centuries ago, our workforce was entirely focused on things like agriculture, right, and farming. And now I think it's like 2% right now of our workforce is focused in agriculture. And so the question is, do all those people suddenly just not have jobs, or do they not even exist? And that's of course not the case. We've had new technologies and new kinds of jobs that people would never have predicted back then that suddenly sprang into existence. And so the same thing's going to happen with robotics and automation and artificial intelligence. These technologies will definitely have an impact on our workforce, but it's also going to create new opportunities for people. And so it's going to be a matter of how well our workforce is at adapting to change. And I think there's some responsibility on the part of automation companies to sort of take the lead in trying to sort of compensate for some of those changes that are going to happen, whether that is somehow subsidizing some of the displacement that is likely to happen, or being more transparent about the jobs that they are in desperate need of, which they just don't talk about right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's robotics, automation, like cars and trucks, they're and planes. Obviously, they're on autopilot all the time. I'm on pilot, but there are many companies right now developing autonomous cars.
Yep.
And that's in a way robotic.
Yep.
And I totally believe in that, because when you're driving, you're upset. You're thinking about other things. Your subconscious is doing the driving anyway. You ever driven for a half hour and say, "Where'd that half hour go?"
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you're the one on autopilot there. Not
yeah. So the computer, on the other hand, is got all these sensors and it's got the GPS and it's very sophisticated. I'm a total believer that in the future, no one will be driving. You'll jump into a car because it'll be even easier than Uber and Lyft right now.
Absolutely.
That'll be right there at your disposal. It'll be very inexpensive. But again, we replaced drivers, didn't we?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So
I mean, that's the thing. So, for starters, in the future, the whole idea of manual versus automatic will mean something completely different than what it means now.
Yeah.
Right. I definitely would envision the day where instead of there being a back seat, we're talking like this. There's going to be bench seating in this car. We're going to be sitting there. We'll probably have a table. We'll have our cup of coffee.
Right. Sit backwards and sit forward, just like
exactly.
Like in a limo.
And, there's a whole question of whether or not we're going to be owning individual cars at that point. So you might have mini pods that are driving around on their own. It's sort of like a rideshare service now, where you just get picked up by that pod and you go. And the whole point of that autonomous vehicle is to pick people up, take them to their destinations in the most optimal way possible, also prepare for the next pickup in the most optimal way possible, and then when it needs some sort of maintenance or a recharge or something like that, it's driving out to a facility somewhere where likely people will be working. And so you will likely have buildings, a parking garage will likely be repurposed to be something that is purely for maintaining autonomous vehicles.
And probably less accidents, so then the auto repair shops will be
far fewer accidents. So there would definitely be differences in...
Now, do you remember the Jetsons?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, I drove a guy whose job is to define the rules for the sky for flying taxis.
Okay.
Now everything's going to be flying, as drones for delivering Amazon packages, taxis, cars, but humans will never be driving up there because it's always going to be the shortest distance. The Jetsons got it half right. We will be flying up there, but there won't be any traffic jams because it's always going to be as the crow flies.
Yeah.
And because computers are driving, not humans, they're going to know where every other object in the sky is, so there won't be any accidents up there.
Well, exactly.
But it'll be like a beehive of just activity flying over. It'll be crazy.
Well, right, of course. Like, I mean, you can. It's analogous to what we're experiencing right now on the road. Like, you are, as a human right now, the only sensory input you're getting is what you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, whatever, right? And so, we're seeing the cars in front of us. So when brake lights come on, you have to see that, process it, react, and then you are emitting brake lights behind you, right? And so they have to react, and so on. So this chain effect. It's this chain effect. If you have all these vehicles, imagine you were all
talking to each other.
Yeah, everyone, all these different vehicles are talking to each other. All of their, we'll call them intents, are understood and known because they're communicating that to each other. The path planning that's happening, like right now, we're using something like Google Maps, but the path planning that might happen is, right now it's being done for an individual car, your car.
But I think they're talking to each other as well because it's telling us how long it's going to be because of the traffic.
Right. But you're not doing collective planning. So what you can do is you can say, okay, here's everyone's work schedule for the day, and so I being Google Maps or whatever mapping system is out there, I'm going to come up with a plan for all vehicles for the day. Right, and of course this is a plan that's subject to change, but it's a basic plan. It's sort of like your air traffic controllers. Like people are
before they take off. There's a plan.
Before they take off, they know where the planes are going to be in the sky. Right, we know where the cars are going to be.
Right.
At any given time. And right now how fast are we going? We're going a whole 25 miles an hour.
We're cruising.
We're cruising. Yeah,
we're really going fast.
Yeah, so we're going 25 miles an hour right now, and we are, multiple car lengths away from other people at any given time, unless we're stopped. And so humans are most efficient when they're driving when 98% of the road is open, which means, it's a huge inefficiency, right?
Sure.
And we're driving the way that we are right now. Imagine driving 6 inches away from the car in front of you, going 100 miles an hour. Right.
Well, here's
and doing it completely safe.
What I see is the problem is everyone's changing lanes. That's what causes congestion. because they think they're gonna. And what happens is a few people change out of this lane, so that goes faster, so they jump into that lane.
Yep.
They're all just going back and forth in lanes, which is inefficient.
Yep.
Obviously. So now. And then you can drive 80 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden it's a jam up again.
Yep.
So instead of going 80, go 30 for the whole distance instead of 80 and 0.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and you can. There are whole, like, honestly, like, traffic analysis to me is one of the most fascinating things out there. It sounds boring. I think it's totally fascinating. Like, looking at like wave mechanics, basically, of how like cars compress, or like traffic will compress and then expand and compress.
Right,
and
exactly.
Expand. It's a real beautiful thing. If you care to analyze it. But I mean, that's the thing, is that humans, we can only observe what is immediately around us, and so we're not going to see the whole. We're not going to see the collective of what's going on. And so if my car, that's, you know, at least multiple car lengths ahead of us, is part of the plan of what we're doing here, then we're going to have a much more optimal path.
No,
it's not
100%,
one vehicle; it's a
100%.
collective of vehicles.
Now, are there robotic? There must be robotic conventions. I would love to go to one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know one coming up? Or I mean, to me, that robotics are fascinating.
Yeah, let's see. So in May, okay, let's see. May is probably ICRA, which is International Conference on Robotics and Automation, I believe.
Where's it at?
I don't know where this one is. I want to say it's China. I'm not sure. It moves around every year, so it's all over. It moves all over the world. Let's see. July is the Global Conference on Educational Robotics, which is primarily designed for educators and mentors and K through 12 kids. So it actually, there are a lot of people there.
Where's that at? Do you know?
This one will be in Norman, Oklahoma.
Okay.
So I'm on the board of directors for that group.
Oh, are you?
Organizer. And then let's see. Later in the year, I want to say September or October, you have IROS, which is a conference on robotics and systems. Not sure where that one is. I want to say that might be China as well. And then going into next year, you've got the Human Robot Interaction Conference, which will be in the UK in March.
Okay, now robotics, obviously robots as well. And I see robots are going to be our military, I think, in the future, because then then people aren't dying from bullets.
Sure.
And robots are dispensable. So that's I've seen some incredible robots. They can do backflips now, I think.
Oh yeah. Boston Dynamics has a really great robot that can do backflips and do just various feats of athleticism.
Strong, they're very strong.
Yeah, very
obviously.
strong. Yeah, but it's if you watch any of these robots, the other thing to keep in mind is how efficient, or I should say inefficient, a lot of our humanoid robots are. So humans are fantastically efficient. Like you can literally eat like a candy bar and you have energy that keeps you going. Right?
Okay.
Like you can get through the whole day.
Right.
Off of little bits of food.
Okay.
Right. So you literally have energy bars. It's like your battery pack that you're eating and consuming. Your digestive system is your power system.
Okay.
In robots right now, like physical machines don't have that. So they have to be charged up to do things, and they're inefficient in how they use their energy. So the robot from Boston Dynamics is like an incredible feat of engineering, but every movement is very deliberative. It's like playing chess. So it's like every movement of a joint in one of the legs, like a knee or an ankle, is highly controlled. It's sort of like stressing. Imagine like tensing your muscles for every single arm and leg movement that you're doing. Imagine like tensing them as much as possible as you're doing that. When humans walk, we do what's more of like a controlled fall. You kind of just like swing a leg forward and then you fall on it.
Right.
And it's actually a very efficient movement. You're not tensing your muscles when you're doing that. And so we've still got a lot of work to do on making these systems be more efficient in their movements. We're not drawing as much power as we do it. Because that robot, I can't speak officially on how long it lasts, but I can't imagine it lasts more than a few minutes on its own power.
Well, they're coming out with some incredible technologies. I work with quantum physicists, and there's geomagnetic energies that are amazing, and it's just we're coming up with some great energy product.
Yeah, for sure. There's for all the things I do understand, there is way more that I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Get
it's
into the hardware world. That's the area where it's funny for me. I'm more of a software guy.
What's your favorite robot right now? What does it do?
Well, so I'm a little biased. So I love Baymax from Big Hero 6 from Disney.
What does that do?
So Baymax was a healthcare robot.
Okay.
And I think we want to be 2 lanes to the left.
It says go north.
Is it?
Yeah.
In 2 miles, use the right 2 lanes to take exit 1Z for California 1 north Sepulveda Boulevard north toward LAX Airport.
Interesting.
Well, we can go either way. We can go either way. But,
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. It's. I know you can get there that way too.
Many ways.
Yeah.
All roads lead to the airport.
Yeah. All roads lead to the airport.
So go ahead.
Yeah. Where were we? Oh yeah, favorite robots. Baymax is a robot from Big Hero 6, and it's a healthcare robot. So it's a robot that basically will, monitor people and give them feedback, and just tries to help them in their everyday
So
lives.
it's a personal one for you.
The personal, healthcare robot. And what I love about that, so this is going back to actually where we started our conversation. Robots, like personal service robots, I think are an area where robotics is not going to be replacing people, but rather augmenting or supplementing care. So an example would be like, think of a lot of people with special needs. So children with autism, people post-stroke, older adults, people with Alzheimer's. The number of people affected by these various disabilities and disorders greatly outnumber the people who can actually help them. And so, in a given week, one of those specialists might see one patient for 30 minutes at a time, gets to work with them, gives them feedback, but then says, okay, now go home and here are my recommendations, please continue doing this. And you just kind of hope that it happens. And the people with these disabilities and disorders, it's very challenging, and they need assistance, they need motivation, they need more care than just that short period of time. And it's not being provided by humans right now because we don't have enough people in those specialized roles.
Right.
And so this is a situation where a specialist could say, okay, cool, I saw you this week, I'm going to send you home with this care robot, and it's going to monitor you, give you feedback, motivate you to do things, and then at the end, it's going to come back with you when we see each other again, and we'll all kind of have a discussion or an interaction about how your care is going. And so this is a situation where robots are not replacing people. Robotics and automation is actually providing care and service where humans are not currently providing it.
Well, I told my wife 30 years ago that when you walk into your home, you're going to have a personal assistant, and it's going to be a computer that knows you and knows what and you're going to ask it questions like, should I take this job? Not that, and they've done this in movies already, but this is 30 years ago that I prognosticated it, and it's Alexa, it's all these different things, but it'll be programmed for you, knowing your education, knowing where your goals are, you program with all that stuff, and it's going to, most people don't have an intelligent friend to talk to.
Sure.
So this is your psychiatrist, it's your mentor, it's your helper, keep you organized, keep you motivated, and it's fascinating that we're going to need that help because, to be honest, the average intelligence of Americans is 6th grade level.
Well,
the average,
it's not. It's unfortunately
pretty
not
low.
where it should be. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I just think Google is the most incredible invention there is because it's the answer to everything in a millisecond, and that's a robot, right? I mean, really, computers are robots.
It's a form of automation. We usually distinguish between I'll distinguish between like the AI versus a robot. So like AI, think of as like the brain. Robot, think of as the body.
Right.
When we talk about robots,
Might have run out of space, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Well, I think we had a little technical difficulty there, but we were on a roll. We were talking some good stuff here. So we were into Star Trek, and how that was ahead of its time. I mean, basically, really. I mean,
Star Trek was ahead of its time. I think that what we were talking about, I guess, just before we had our little glitch, was that Star Trek's actually an example where our reality has exceeded our science fiction, at least in one capacity. So the communicators that they use in Star Trek are actually not as sophisticated as today's smartphone.
yeah.
So that's actually an area where our present-day reality exceeds where we thought we were going to be in terms of the science fiction. outside of that, I mean, we still have a lot to look towards in terms of Star Trek, Star Wars, all these different, all these different super cool science fiction worlds. Star Wars motivated me to go into robotics. Those are the kinds of robots that I want. I want my own little C-3PO and R2-D2 and BB-8s, and I love those things. Not just because they have a functional role, but because they have very much a social or an entertainment role, a companionship role. They're very much a character, not just a box.
Right.
And that I really like. I'm looking forward to the day when I've got my Disney characters that I love on screen that can come to life in my own world.
Well,
so I really love that.
Well, artificial intelligence, they're limiting it now because if it took over, which it can do, it's going to eliminate a lot of humans because, humans jeopardize their living because we're screwing up a lot of things. They could probably shut down a city when artificial intelligence takes over. What do you think about that?
It really would take a lot for humans to put an AI in place that had that level of control that also did not allow us to override it. Very rarely will an AI be entirely in control. We usually will distinguish between artificial intelligence and augmented intelligence. So a lot of these AIs would likely be more as what we call like recommender systems. They'll recommend an action, but it's still humans in the loop that take the actions, especially in sort of mission critical roles. And oftentimes these AIs, if it's based on...
Hello, America. Do you have a product or a service? Would you like to increase your business, earn customer loyalty, spread patriotism, and thank our veterans for the service to our country? You can do all that by joining Supporting Our Servicemen, a 501c3 dedicated to helping and thanking our veterans. Please join today at ilovesos.org.
So as far as artificial, we got 23 seconds to wrap this up. It was great meeting you. Great conversation. Let's hope that AI doesn't take over. I know they're putting laws in place so it doesn't. Robotics are the future. What a great conversation. Thank you so much for being part of this.
This is great.
And be fantastic. How are you, by the way?
I'm fucking...
We are fantastic! Nous sommes fantastic!
I'm fan-fucking-tastic.
I am fantastic!
خیلی خوشحالم. I am fantastic.
I am fantastic.
We're fantastic.
Mir gestimmt!
मैं हूँ लाजवाब.
Soy fantástica!
We are fantastic. رائع.
Mir geht es fantastisch.
Great. من خیلی خوبم.
Чувствую себя круто! 今天放级啦！항상 저기다!
Io sono fantastico.
Oui, fantastique! Eu sou fantástica! Estoy fantástica!
You're fantastic!
We are fantastic. 좋아요.
Eu sou fantástica! I am fantastic! I am fantastic!
We are
fantastic!
I am fantastic.
Nous sommes fantastiques! I am fantastic!
I am fantastic.
I am fantastic.
I am fantastic. And how are you guys tonight?
We're so fantastic!
We're fantastic.
I am fantastic!
We are fantastic.